The Proteas Netball team has been in camp at the Stellenbosch Academy of Sports for the last 2 weeks. 16 players were at the High Performance Center going through their paces and undergoing rigorous tests hoping to impress the technical team members. 6 players who are applying their trade overseas were not part of the camp. The Proteas assistant coach Nicole Cusack says only 12 players will make the final team, with 3 players selected as reserves.
The purpose of this camp is for selections for the World Cup. So the girls are quite anxious and very nervous, wanting to get out there on court and show us what they've got. So it is a difficult time for them, but we've prepared them well, and we've kind of got to keep them relaxed enough to make sure they play at their best performances to show us what they've got. So for us as coaches, it's crunch time. We've got 6 players overseas that we also have to consider. So we're watching video of those girls and watching some live games of the girls here and seeing their training intensity as well. So tough for all of us at the moment, but the reward will be worth it at the end.
The Australian Cusack and the compatriot and head coach Noma Plama were brought back to the team after a disappointing showing at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham last year. The Australian pair guided the team to a 4th position at the previous World Cup in England 4 years ago. Cusack says the team is slowly finding its feet again after going through a bad patch last year.
We lost to Australia by 2 goals, which could have put us in the gold medal match. So we are very close, or we were very close. After that World Cup, Norma and I finished with the team, and then they had another coach that took them to games where their performances probably wasn't as expected. But we're now catching up again and trying to lift them back to where they were back in the last World Cup. So we honestly hope for a World Cup podium finish. Where we sit with that, we've just got to plug it away one game at a time, as they say, and just work hard at each game. And we are there. We are very close to each of these top teams, so it can be done.
The Australian says they are also looking beyond the World Cup, with some of the younger players brought to the camp to learn from the experienced players.
Definite improvements. You can see the intensity of the players and their skills. And we've got a bigger squad at the moment. We've got some development players in there that have lifted as well. Even some, because we've got 6 overseas, we've still had to invite a couple extra training players in. And even they've lifted as well. So we feel like we're doing the development also on top of lifting our own players in our squad. So when the girls come in, the intensity does lift, and you can see their skills really lift as well.
The Proteas are in a tough pool that also includes higher-ranked Jamaica, Wales and Sri Lanka. Cusack says Jamaica will be the toughest opponents.
Well, Jamaica's, that will be our hardest game in the pool, and then in the crossover, we hit New Zealand, number 2 in the world. So we have a tough draw. We have to beat one of those teams to make it through, and we feel we can. We've got to get that believability in the players to know that they can do it, and on the day anything can happen. So we're aiming to beat those 2 teams, both of them preferably, and we think it's possible that we can, but we just have to work hard at it.
Cusack says the team will be inspired by the women cricket team that managed to finish in the final of the T20 tournament early this year in Cape Town.
It is to see that they actually got to the silver medal, the gold medal playoff. So it is definitely something that the girls are aware of and see and support other teams, not just like women's teams, it's the men's team. Seeing any of the South African teams perform and do well, they're always like congratulating and backing them, and yeah, it's always good to see that, and it does inspire.
The Proteas managed the podium finish when they claimed bronze in 1967 and silver in 1995. Vincent Situra, SABC News.